What if I told you that everything you've hoped for, everything you've been waiting for months could happen? But only if you keep quiet? Yes, you heard me right. Your next miracle, your next big breakthrough is about to happen. And the biggest secret? It mustn't be shared with anyone. Not yet. Stay with me. In the next few minutes, you'll discover why your silence can be your greatest ally, and how this hidden calm is preparing something greater than you dare imagine. Sometimes, you feel this emptiness around you, this heavy silence, like a breath no one else notices. Everything seems to be waiting. Everything seems suspended. And in this strange stillness, you wonder, why is nothing moving? Why doesn't anyone understand what I'm going through? Why does everything seem to be stuck? And yet, it is precisely at this moment that the divine invites you to sacred silence. This silence is not empty. It is not a punishment or an act of forgetting. It is a subtle call, a whisper that passes through your soul to tell you that something greater is being prepared. But to hear this whisper, you must be silent. You must withdraw from the clamor of the world, from the eagerness of others' gazes and judgments, because some spiritual paths cannot tolerate noise. They are built in secret, far from eyes, far from comments, far from human validation. Imagine your heart as a sealed chamber, a place where only your feelings, your hopes, and your prayers resonate. In this room, every emotion is amplified, every thought becomes light. And it is there that the divine acts most profoundly. Because your silence, your withdrawal, is not an absence of action. It is an act of faith. It is a silent prayer that pierces the heavens and touches the unseen. Every sigh you hold back, every word you choose not to utter, becomes a vibration of hope and patience, an energy the world cannot comprehend, but which He, and He alone, sees. You feel this pressure to share everything, don't you? The desire to recount your struggles, your dreams, your failures, your desires to those around you, and even more, the desire for them to understand that this silence is not inaction, but preparation. But what you don't realize is that not everyone to whom you share your struggles possesses the necessary light to receive what you carry within you. Certain words dissipate your energy. Some confidences open doors you're not ready to walk through. And there, in that restraint, in that choice to keep your journey to yourself, an invisible force grows. A force that only the divine can shape. Have you ever felt that inner shiver, that strange mix of fear and hope, when you watch life go on around you and realize that you, too, are walking on a different timeline, a secret time, a plan that isn't yet visible? That shiver is a sign that you're aligned with something greater, something you can't yet reveal, but that the heavens are preparing for you. You're in the incubation phase. And like any seed, before the bud breaks through the earth, it must remain in the darkness, protected, nourished, silent. Think of every time you held back a word, every time you chose to pray in silence rather than seek the approval of others. Those moments were seeds, every tear shed in secret, every plea whispered in your silence, every sincere repentance, every hope you cherished to yourself. All of this is forming something powerful. What you are experiencing is not a pause. It is not a failure. It is not a forgetting. It is a divine preparation. What if I told you that the world, as you know it, never needs to know your entire journey? That the beauty of your miracle lies in the fact that it unfolds at the exact moment, in the exact place, and before the right people at precisely the right time? Silence then becomes an ally, a protective shield. Every time you hesitate to speak, every time you hold your emotions to yourself, you are protecting what heaven has reserved for you. Because some blessings are shattered if they are exposed too soon, and you are learning to preserve them. Look to your heart. Feel it. Feel this struggle between the urge to say everything and the need to keep everything to yourself. You are being tested, but it is a gentle, almost invisible test. You are learning to listen to the divine in the shadows, to feel its guidance in the breath of a calm morning, in the silence of the night, in a breath that flows through you while the world sleeps. It is in these moments that the light begins to gently penetrate your soul, long before anyone can see it. And you who are listening to these words right now, you are exactly where you need to be. In this silence, in this chosen solitude, in this waiting that may seem long and unfair. Because this silence is not a void. This silence is a crucible. Every day, every minute, every breath shapes you for what you are destined to receive. What you are going through is not by chance, and what you are holding on to is not useless. It is a secret that the divine has entrusted to your soul alone. You must not fear the silence. You must embrace it. Because in this silence, an invisible movement is taking place. A powerful change that will not be perceptible to those who do not understand, but that will transform your existence forever. And whenever you feel alone, misunderstood, or behind the world, remember, silence is your sanctuary, and the divine is working for you in this place that no one can see or touch. And now, in this silence you carry, begin to feel this energy, this invisible preparation. And if you listen to it, if you let it speak to you, you would feel that what you are waiting for is not far away, very far away. Imagine a seed buried in darkness. No one sees it. No one gives it light, warmth, or recognition. To those who look at the surface, nothing seems to happen. They would think it's forgotten, lost, that its potential has been extinguished. But you feel that silent fire burning inside. That fire no one can perceive, because that's exactly what you're experiencing. This time, when nothing seems to be moving forward, when your efforts seem invisible, when your prayers seem to float unanswered, it's not emptiness. It's the silent transformation that only Allah sees and guides. Every breath you take, every tear you secretly wipe away, every hesitation, every night you cling to hope. All of this is preparing something greater than you can yet imagine. The seed beneath the earth doesn't sleep. It tears itself apart, twists, breaks apart to create a new space. The layers of earth that stifle it are not an enemy. They are the force that shapes its roots, and you, every difficulty, every trial you endure, every criticism you hear, every disappointment, it is not a punishment, but this same earth shaping you. Allah allows you to overcome this invisible pressure so that your roots may be deep, strong, and unshakable. Do not be deceived by the apparent calm around you. What the world sees is the surface. What the world does not see is this fire that gently consumes you from within. This divine energy that pushes you to surpass yourself, even when you think you are still. This fire has nothing to do with agitation, with shouting, with immediate desires. It is silent, constant, and relentless. And it is this fire that prepares you to blossom, to become what you are destined to be. Look at the seed that sprouts after weeks, months, sometimes years. No one witnessed this process. No one saw the darkness she traversed, nor the fissures she created in the earth to make room for herself. When she finally emerges from the shadows, she becomes a light. She draws attention, she inspires, she transforms the space around her. This is precisely the path you are walking. Once your moment arrives, once your radiance appears, everyone will witness the miracle you have been silently carrying within you. But until that moment, Allah keeps you hidden, because some miracles if rushed, would crumble. Because some blessings require darkness to strengthen. Because you must learn to walk with patience and trust, even when the world seems to turn its back on you. This fire that burns in secret prepares you not only for what lies ahead, but also for what you are destined to become within yourself. Imagine this fire as an invisible sculptor. Each trial is a cut, each silence a caress that shapes your soul. You don't see it immediately, you may not feel it right away, but in the intimacy of your heart, in your silent nights, you sense that something is changing. Old habits fade, weaknesses transform into strengths, fears gradually disappear, giving way to faith and certainty. And this fire isn't just for you, it's for what you are destined to influence, for the people you will touch, for the lives you will transform, for the spaces you will illuminate. There is no rush in the divine plan. Everything is measured, precise, perfect. Like the seed that knows exactly how to grow in the right direction to reach the sun. Sometimes you wonder why you must traverse the unseen, why you must endure incomprehension, silence, and a lack of recognition. But what you don't realize is that this invisibility is a gift because it protects you. It shields you from distractions, criticism, the envy of others, and obstacles that could lead you astray from your true path. It keeps you focused on the inner light, on the fire that burns only for you, on the transformation that only Allah knows and controls. And you begin to understand that this silence, this darkness, these moments when you feel alone, abandoned, or held back, these are what shape your future radiance. These are what prepare the soul to receive what the whole world will notice, but what only you have carried in secret. You are exactly like that seed, and what you are going through is exactly what you were meant to go through. You sit there, perhaps in the silence of your room, perhaps in the midst of a world that continues on without you, and you wonder, why doesn't anyone understand my vision? Why doesn't anyone see what I see in my heart? You feel this incomprehension, this invisible weight. As if you were carrying a secret that no one can grasp, you speak, you explain, you give clues. And yet, the emptiness persists. You look around you and watch others move forward, succeed, shine, and you remain in this strange pause, this seemingly endless waiting. You tell yourself that perhaps you missed something, or that you're not meant for this. But what if I told you that this emptiness, this silence, is actually a sign, a divine call that you are missing if you don't stop to listen to it? You continue. Why aren't my projects progressing, even though I'm giving it my all? I've prayed, I've worked, I've sacrificed, I've believed, and yet I have nothing to show for it. What if what you call stagnation is actually an invisible preparation? What if every effort you make in secret, every small victory you keep to yourself, every silent tear, and every whispered prayer form the foundation of a miracle that no one will see until the perfect time? Perhaps you're thinking, why does Allah's silence weigh so heavily? Why does this feeling of endless waiting haunt me, as if the whole world is moving on without me? Listen carefully. This silence is not abandonment. This silence is protection. It sets you apart in a sacred space where no one can touch your energy, where no one can alter the light that the divine is preparing for you. It's not that you're forgotten. It's that you're being purified. You are being removed from distractions, from glances that could lead you astray, from opinions that could weaken your heart. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you felt that your path was too fragile to be exposed? How many times have you sensed that if someone were to intervene, even with the best intentions, it would change the direction the divine wanted you to take? This moment of isolation, this period when nothing moves, is actually an act of mercy. Allah is preparing you, silently, in this invisible laboratory of the soul. Every breath you take, every night you spend alone, every fear you overcome in secret, all of this gathers you together, strengthens you, purifies you, and you continue to ask questions in your heart. Why must I suffer like this in silence? Why can't I share my struggles, my dreams, my hopes? What if this silence is precisely the place where you learn to know yourself? Where you learn that true support isn't found in applause or admiring glances, but in patience, faith, and silent constancy? When you learn to stand alone, without recognition or validation, you become ready to receive what is immense, what surpasses human understanding. You are in incubation. And this process, though painful at times, is the necessary passage to what you are destined to achieve. You also ask yourself, what if I don't make it? What if everything collapses before I can see the fruits of my labor? What if this silence becomes eternal? Don't let these thoughts deceive you. They aren't meant to discourage you. They are meant to show you the magnitude of what you are going through. Just as iron becomes stronger after being fired, just as gold is refined in the crucible, your heart is being transformed in this solitude. Every doubt you feel, every fear that crosses your mind, every tear that falls in silence, becomes a catalyst for strength, wisdom, and patience. So you ask yourself again, why now? Why this precise moment of silence and stagnation? Because the divine has chosen this moment for you. It knows exactly when your heart will be ready to receive what is coming. It knows when your soul will be strong enough to carry the light that must blossom through you. And while the world sees nothing, you are receiving the greatest of teachings, that of absolute trust, that of patience that surpasses all human understanding, that of accepting that silence can be more powerful than 1,000 words. Your heart is beginning to feel it. This calm, this slowing, this emptiness that you so dread is not a sign of forgetfulness. This is a sign that you are being shaped for something greater, something that no one else will be able to understand until the precise moment Allah reveals it. And in this incubation, in this silence, you begin to understand that what you call stagnation is actually an invisible movement. Have you ever felt that thrill, that strange mix of pride and fear, when you consider sharing a dream? When your heart burns with enthusiasm for a project, an idea, a deep desire, and you think to yourself, I want to say it, I want the world to see it, I want someone to understand what I carry within me. But that moment, that precise moment, is often the most dangerous. Because what you carry within you isn't yet ready for the world to see. You think you're sharing a hope, a dream, an ambition, but sometimes you open the door to energies that aren't aligned with your path. Not necessarily enemies, not necessarily bad intentions, just hindering glances, judgments, doubts, whispers that come to extinguish the inner fire in your heart. Imagine for a moment a miracle in the making. It's fragile, invisible, silent. If you reveal it before its time, if you speak of it too soon, certain external forces, even unintentional ones, can destabilize it. You see, some blessings need the shadows before they can shine. They need patience, confidentiality, discretion. Because premature light can burn what isn't yet strong. Perhaps you've already experienced this. You confided in someone. You shared a project you thought was solid. And suddenly, their words landed like cold rain on a fragile fire. Are you sure? I don't think it's for you. Why are you getting so carried away? And the faith, which until then had been a blazing flame, flickers, it trembles, it fragments. Because by revealing your dream too soon, you exposed your flame to winds you can't control. And these winds, they can be subtle. Sometimes it's not even a hostile opinion. Sometimes these are just doubts, opinions, worries from souls who don't understand your divine timing, but their mere presence can hinder the growth of what heaven has prepared for you. Allah teaches you to protect what He has entrusted to you, not out of fear, not out of selfishness, but out of wisdom, because every blessing, every dream, every spiritual or material project has its perfect moment, and that moment can only be reached if you respect the confidentiality that the divine requires of you. Do you realize how rushed you've been, how much you've wanted the world to validate what you feel in your heart? How many times have you shared your path too soon, only to hear responses that make you doubt yourself? And in this doubt, your energy diminishes. Your hope fades a little. Your heart asks itself, am I on the right path? Have I misinterpreted my prayers? Have I misunderstood my calling? What you don't yet know is that the silence you maintain can be your shield. This silence is protective. It protects your energy, your vision, and your fragile heart. It allows you to nurture your dream without it being contaminated by uninformed opinions, unintentional criticism, or the fear of others. It allows you to walk in the certainty that a divine plan is unfolding, even if no one can see it. Think of all those times a miracle, a blessing, or a grand project crumbled simply because the person shared it too soon. How many visions never came to fruition because the inner fire was exposed before it was strong enough to withstand the scrutiny of others? How many hearts abandoned their ambition, not because they weren't capable, but because the words of others sowed a destructive doubt? And you have a fire within you, a dream, a calling. Perhaps you've begun to whisper it in a low voice, confiding it to those you deem worthy. But even these confidences can be interruptions to what the divine is preparing. Because some blessings cannot withstand the light until they are solid. They need solitude, maturity, discretion, patience. And you must learn to wait for that moment. Perhaps you're wondering, how long must I wait? When will I know the time has come? You don't need precise answers right now. The only thing you need is to protect yourself, to protect that fire you carry within you. And the best way to do that is to remain silent. Not out of fear of the world, not out of self-doubt, but out of love for what you are creating. Because what you carry is precious. Because what heaven is preparing for you is immense. And because the light, when it bursts forth, must be perfect. Silence. This word seems simple, but it is so much more than the absence of noise. It is a realm few dare to explore, an invisible force field, a sanctuary that only hearts seeking the light can enter. You have often thought that silence was an emptiness, a space where nothing happens. But in reality, it is there that life is being prepared, there that the divine whispers, there that your soul begins to hear what your human ears cannot perceive. When you stop and choose to be silent, an invisible transformation begins. Your mind ceases to chase after opinions, after distractions, after the social pressures that try to define you. And in this pause, you begin to listen, not with your ears, but with your heart. And what you hear is more powerful than all the advice, all the words, all the speeches the world could give you. Silence then becomes a weapon. Not a weapon to hurt, but a weapon to protect, to purify, to strengthen. In this silence, you no longer need to convince, to prove, to justify, because what is being prepared for you does not depend on applause or human gaze. What is destined for you is invisible to the world. It takes shape in the depths of your soul, in the space between your heartbeats, in the very breath you hold to listen to Allah speak. And that is where the magic happens. When you are truly silent, when you learn to observe the world without fussing, you begin to sense the subtle signs. They don't always appear brightly. Sometimes they come as a breath that passes through you, an intuition that compels you, an unexpected encounter that seems insignificant but holds a key. Silence makes you receptive. It opens your heart to truths you would have missed if you had shouted, shared, or exposed your struggles too soon. Look at your own heart. Feel it. Each time you choose to remain silent, you place yourself in a position where your soul can speak directly with the divine. And in those moments, you experience a clarity that transcends all human logic. Directions become obvious, paths unfold, and doors that seemed locked open of their own accord. You finally understand that you never needed noise to exist, that your worth, your light, and your impact do not depend on the approval of others. Silence transforms you into a patient observer. You see the cycles of life repeating themselves with divine precision. You begin to understand that what you believed to be trials, delays, or obstacles were actually protections, moments to prepare you, to strengthen you, to refine your soul so that it can receive what is meant for you. And every second spent in this silence becomes a silent prayer, a direct communication with the One who knows all, sees all, and prepares all with infinite wisdom. There is a power in this stillness that few understand. People often seek answers in the noise, in the constant sharing, in the approval of others. But you gradually realize that everything truly important happens in silence. In silence, you learn to cultivate patience. And patience becomes armor, invisible, yet strong armor. It protects your heart, your mind, and your energy from anything that could distract you or weaken your faith. Every moment you choose to be silent strengthens this armor, and with it, you become invincible to criticism, doubt, distractions, and even your own fears. Your silence is not inactive. It is active in its depths. It listens. It absorbs. It transforms. It acts in the invisible realms. And what forms in this silent sanctuary of your soul eventually radiates into the world in ways no one can anticipate. What you carry within you, this fire you keep hidden, becomes an irresistible light when the time is right. And because you learned to protect it in silence, it remains pure, powerful, and indestructible. Now imagine that moment when everything you've kept inside bursts forth. That moment when your dream, your goal, your blessing prepared in secret becomes tangible. It wasn't the noise that brought it into being. It wasn't the approval of others. It was the silence you cultivated, the patience you nurtured, the faith you protected. Everyone sees the result, but no one sees the silent fire that burned within you. No one sees the nights of waiting, the whispered prayers, the heart soothed in the darkness. And that is exactly how the divine loves to work. The miracle unfolds, but the path remains a secret shared only between your soul and Him. Imagine dawn, the moment when night gently fades, when the stars gradually disappear, and the first ray of light touches the horizon. This ray is fragile at first, almost invisible, and yet it heralds the day. It transforms the world, silently, but irrevocably. And you who have walked in the darkness of silence, you who have traversed nights of doubt and waiting, this moment is approaching for you. A day will come when all that you have kept secret, your whispered prayers, your stifled hopes, your unspoken tears, your ambitions that no one knew about, will finally shine in 1,000 ways. People will see the fruits of your effort, but never the root, never the invisible work that fueled this light. No one will know how many nights you spent speaking to Allah in silence, how many times you rehearsed your intentions in your heart, how many times you were alone with your hope and your faith. And yet, this secret, this mystery, this hidden fire, it is this that will cause your miracle to burst forth before the world. You will smile when you see this, not out of vanity, not for the approval of others, but because you will know. You will know that every moment of patience, every deliberate silence, every instant you held your words back was not wasted. You will know that these hours of solitude and trial were exactly what you had to go through to become worthy of what is coming. Because what is coming surpasses anything your mind could conceive. It is too great to be explained, too pure to be shared before the perfect moment. Feel it in your heart. Everything you have been through, all the nights you prayed in silence, all the moments you doubted and continued to believe despite everything. All of this has been divine preparation. Allah has set you apart, protected you in your sacred space, isolated you so that your miracle could blossom in perfection. And this preparation is never wasted. It is inscribed in your soul. It flows in your blood. It shapes your spirit. Every trial, every hesitation, every moment of solitude, all of this becomes the solid root upon which your brilliance will rest. And now, feel this anticipation. You can almost touch it, this light on the horizon. It is not yet complete, but it is there. It is making its way through the clouds of doubt and weariness. And you, in your silence, are learning to recognize it. You sense that the moment is approaching, that the world will finally see what you have carried in the unseen, and what you will see then will be transformative. For you, for those around you, and even for those who did not know that this miracle was being prepared. Imagine the looks, the smiles, the hands reaching out to you, the opportunities that present themselves, the hearts that open. But you know the truth. You know that what matters is not attention, nor applause, nor external recognition. What matters is what you have cultivated in secret, what you have nurtured with patience, what you have protected in silence. Because the greatness of your miracle depends on what you have kept hidden, intact, pure, faithful to your inner path. And as you walk in this light that is finally opening, you realize that all this waiting, all this silence, all these trials were not obstacles, but stepping stones. Every moment you felt the urge to speak, to show, to prove, and chose to remain silent, was an act of obedience and trust. An act that strengthened your heart and prepared your mind for the magnificence that is now manifesting. Feel the energy rising within you, the breath of this new light. You are no longer the same person who began this journey. You are stronger, more patient, more awake, and above all, you are ready. Ready to receive what heaven has prepared for you since the first day you chose to remain silent. You understand now that silence was never emptiness. It was a sanctuary. It was a school. It was an invisible weapon, a force that protected, guided, and uplifted you. And just as you begin to grasp the magnitude of what is happening, a certainty washes over you. This miracle is only just beginning. The fire you have cultivated in silence will radiate into every area of your life. What you thought was lost, forgotten, or delayed is arriving with a power you never could have imagined. And this is only the beginning. Your heart beats faster, your breath quickens slightly. You feel the world changing around you, but you know that this change isn't just external. It begins within you. Every prayer, every tear, every night of silence has sown seeds that heaven is now bringing to fruition. And you are there, witnessing your own miracle aware that what was invisible is now becoming irresistible. And as the dawn light continues to spread, you finally understand what patience truly means. You understand that everything you've been going through in secret wasn't a vain wait, but the most beautiful preparation your soul could receive. And just when you think that light has reached its peak, something greater begins to reveal itself. Something neither the world nor your mind can yet fully comprehend. Your silence isn't emptiness. It's a sign. It's the prelude to something greater than you can imagine. So protect your secret, remain patient, and continue to nurture your faith. And if this video has touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Comment on your experience of silence and waiting, and most importantly, subscribe to receive even more spiritual guidance that can transform your life. Because this journey, your journey, is only just beginning.